Hello, everyone. This is Sparkle On with Davy Jags, but this is our Sparkle Sundays with my boyfriend, Thomas Paolini. Today we are talking about, we had actually trouble coming up with topics, so y'all need to send in topic ideas for us because we were stumped this week. But today we decided we were going to settle on how social media impacts your relationships. And I don't know, we at first we were like, well, I don't know. And then we started talking and we're like, oh yeah, it definitely impacts ours. It's impacted my past relationships. And we know it impacts everyone's relationship. So we're excited to dive in.
Yes, we're excited and definitely hasn't affected me in any way. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's not true. Okay, little funny story. So we have said here before that Tom and I went to high school together, but we didn't know each other in high school because I was only focused on running and Tom was a popular football player and I was afraid of boys.
So popular.
Okay, thanks, Tom. But what was funny was
I played other sports.
Thank you. That to clarify that you were such an athlete.
I was a decent student.
Oh, okay. That's not what the topic is about today, Tom.
Get your facts straight, okay?
Okay. Anyways,
Studious.
Tom, are you good? Are you good? You need a break? Okay. So anyways, no, it was funny because I knew Tom was a grade below me. So we're like 6 months apart in age. He's younger, I'm older. And I mean, I knew of him because he was a good football player, like I said, but I didn't always go to games or anything like that. I didn't really care about it. And I only knew him as this random guy who played football, the grade
guy.
beneath me. Okay, Tom, yes, the guy.
I gotta stop that. Don't do that anymore.
Okay. And he never changed his profile picture. Like it was always a profile picture of him and his older brother. And like he's just like beaming with a smile. But when I went away to college, like back in high school, you just follow everyone on Instagram. Like it wasn't like this weird like, oh, like I don't know you very well, so I'm not gonna follow you back. Like you followed everyone that you went to high school with. That's just what it was. And I always noticed that this guy, Tom Paolini, and this is like throughout college too, especially senior year, I noticed it, was like Tom Paolini liked your photo. And it was like not just like the photos of me like looking nice or like my attempt at a thirst trap pictures. It was always like my poetry. And I was like, what is this random guy from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania always liking my poetry for? This is when I used to post poetry. A lot of those are archived. But yeah, so when I met Tom officially, like met him back after college and we started hanging out, I was like, so why did you always like my poetry? So that, at least in our relationship, this is how social media has impacted us. Tom was always liking my pictures.
I was playing the long game.
Tom, you were not playing the long game. You knew nothing about me. And you had a girlfriend for literally all of high school and half of college.
That's a part of playing the long game.
Okay. So on that note, a lot of couples don't like when their partners like other people's pictures. What do you think about that?
I think generally if you are tracking somebody else's internet usage, it's probably not good. It's probably not good for your relationship. It's definitely not good in general. So I don't see it being like, oh, if it obviously it pops up on your feed, like I know occasionally things will be like, oh, a bunch of people liked this post, so like you can see who liked it. But if there's already some underlying issue there where you're checking to see if your partner is liking other people's photos, yeah, that's probably problematic. Now, I understand why it could be an issue. I understand if you're like, oh, why are you always liking this girl's picture? That's not necessarily good to see. For instance, with you liking all of your stuff, most of my interaction with Instagram pictures was I would just sort of like everybody that I followed. I didn't follow that many people. Or
He described
any
it to
random
me
accounts.
as he would just go boom, 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 down
That
the
was-
timeline. I was like, oh,
there
okay, you didn't
was-
actually notice me at all.
There was a point in time where I definitely just wasn't even looking and just double tap, scroll, double tap, scroll, double
But like,
tap, scroll.
can I ask you, what was the point of that? Like,
In my mind,
were you like sitting on the toilet and you were just like, this is my thing to do because I can't focus on going to the bathroom?
back at that point in time, before algorithms were out of control and like discover pages were a huge thing, there
Yeah.
wasn't as much like you went on Instagram. There wasn't like a huge. You had to like search
Well, it was
for
chronological. That was part
you
of
had
it.
to search for something if you wanted to see it. It wasn't just like the feeding
Yeah.
you stuff. So there wasn't that much reason to go on Instagram constantly and like just to like scroll through stuff. There wasn't reels or anything. So I would just make it a point like during the day or at some point during the day, I'd go on and I would just like every photo from the day. Now,
But were you absorbing anything?
at a point in time, I kind of fell out of habit of doing that, but I also started engaging with things more sort of around the time when Instagram expanded, started doing more things. You could post videos, you could post, multiple photos. So I think, yeah, because you criticize, you're like, oh, he's liking my poetry. And I certainly wasn't reading all of it like in depthly, like over and over again. But I do remember reading a lot of it. I mean, it was whatever. It took 30 seconds to read a poem. I did read it. Like I read a fair amount of it. So even if I wasn't like absorbing it that well, I was engaging with it beyond just, I wasn't like watching the TV screen and just like clicking with my thumb. I was looking at it. So
Yeah. And that's just like our little personal connection.
Yes.
Like that's just like a cute thing that I was like, oh, this is how far we've come. Yada, yada, yada. That wasn't actually like, when we were talking about how it impacts our relationships. It's like we've had a lot of points of time, especially over the last few months, where the internet has become so loud, and our tension in our own home and in our own relationship is sometimes because of these external voices and force outside of us. And it's like we'll be sometimes laying in bed and like I know I've had a hard time where it's like we'll be laying in bed, we should just be spending time together, but all of a sudden we're both like scrolling on our phones. And it's hard because like, especially in my position when you're building a brand and so much of that is reliant on digital media and various different platforms. Like it used to be okay, like you could allot 20 minutes to post something. And now I can tell you with every channel that exists, it takes me a solid hour. And that, I mean, sometimes it's just due to distraction and sometimes it genuinely is like, because each platform has its own thing, whether it's like, tagging different SEO tools and like all of that. Like, the brand building is a whole separate issue, but then you fall into like the personal use, which is kind of where I'm referring to with like Tom and I is like, we'll be scrolling and all of a sudden like this outward energy is between us because we'll start talking about something we see. And it's okay because we want to vent and we want to talk about it and we want to share our points of views. But then it's like, I'll all of a sudden be like, oh my God, this is too much. And I'm not getting angry necessarily at Tom, but I'm getting angry about the situation and I don't want it to be about our relationship anymore. And then all of a sudden it's like you don't know how to differentiate that anger. And now you're just in this like tense period because it's only you and your partner. And I think what we have found, I mean, like, not that this is more something that like we're identifying very recently because, again, as you know, this is our first time really living together since we were in Pennsylvania. But like, we go on walks without our phones in the mornings. What else do we do? Or I felt like when we went to the beach this past weekend and we were playing games with a bunch of like a group of people, like we could not have our phones because we were competing. Like that was the most relaxed I have felt because the disconnect, it's almost like you need to disconnect in order to come together as a partnership again. But I think sometimes you also forget, like, what are the conversations, like without the internet existing, what are the conversations that you and I are having?
Yeah, I think you're describing the bleeding effect when everything that you talk about, even if it isn't on the internet, where you're having a conversation is about something you interacted with on the internet. So social media, seeing posts, oh, hey, did you see this? Like, let's talk about it. And then that's where the conversation comes from. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. I just think, like you're saying, there's escapism involved in it, but it's also detached from, like, what does this really have to do with our lives? It's maybe nothing. It might have nothing to do with anything going on in our lives. Or it has something to do in an adjacent way, or if it's something that's, happening in politics or happening in like world events, world news, stuff that is important and relevant, but not necessarily something we need to be focusing all of our attention to, especially when we have everything going on in our own lives with work and just managing our own relationship. So I definitely see how that's been something that we've had to recognize recently and start to navigate through. But I don't see, like I was saying, I don't see the problem. You're laying in bed at night and, you're on this side, you're on this side, you're both on your feed or something. Same thing as reading a book. Now,
No, it's not.
A lot of book people be like,
no, it's
no,
not.
the book is, no, but
it's not the same thing.
I'm not saying it's the same. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with having your own thing when you're in the same space with somebody.
Yes, but I've said
That's
it to
all
you
I'm
before,
saying.
laying in bed. It's like, okay, also, if you don't know this, it's a great hack. My best friend taught me this. You can change the blue light to your phone to be red light so that it's not blue light in your face before bed. And it actually does help you put the phone down and helps you sleep better. There's an iPhone setting that you can change it to. But we will be laying in bed sometimes, and I'm trying to go to bed. And it's like, either put your red light on, or don't give me that look, or turn the phone off because I'm trying to go to bed. Because for me, it's like, I can feel the chaos of the internet as I'm trying to sleep when your phone is open.
Now, I'm not disputing your experience. What I'm talking about specifically, or the instances that I was talking about, were when you get into bed, the lights are still on, you're not closing your eyes to sleep yet. You're just winding down for a few minutes. My point was saying there's nothing wrong with that if that's how as long as there's like a cutoff, then okay, we're turning lights off, putting our phones down, we're going to bed. And I was comparing it to reading a book in the same instance of somebody will have their book on their nightside table, bedside table. That's what they do before bed. That's how they unwind. They put their phone down. They read a book for 10, 15 minutes to fall asleep. Good habit. Trying to get into it a little bit. My hit rate is, I don't know.
He's reading
I'm batting
The Heart of the Buddhist Teaching.
Is that what it's called?
Something like that. The Heart of the Buddhist Teachings.
I don't know.
That's
what
you're
called.
reading.
I didn't pick it because of the title.
Okay.
But either way, I think there's a level of engagement with it where it's not a problem. And it's not even an issue generally, but it's about when it's bleeding into things where you're So we were driving here to the studio today, and we weren't talking about stuff on the internet, but that would be an instance where it's like, we're in the car, we could be talking about meaningful things that are happening, what happened today at work or what happened here. And if you're just like, oh, look at this post on Instagram, or look at this silly thing, or look at this, can you believe this just happened, or that this person said this? That's probably not good. And I think a part of recognizing it is when you get to sit down and actually have a conversation where you're not talking about something happening on the internet, you become acutely aware of it, which is sort of like what we've been going through lately, especially you being like smacking the phone out of my hand. So.
Okay, but okay, what happens then? I mean, this is hypothetical, not necessarily about us, but you put some of this advice into practice, and then you realize you have nothing to talk about because all you have ever talked about is whatever is existing on the internet. Does that mean your relationship is dead? Does that mean you guys don't have that much in common?
Yes.
Do you have to invent that? Yes. I mean, sometimes I feel okay, it's not that happens with us, but it's if we make this conscious decision to put away our phones, right? Those first 15 minutes, it's almost like there's a withdrawal period. But I'm more thinking if you're a young person, 15 minutes feels like an eternity, right? And so you wind me back about 10 years. I'd be like, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. Oh my God. I don't know what to talk about. He doesn't like me, right? So what I'm trying to say is how would a person not freak out if that were to happen? Because I do think there is a difference in communication styles, especially for those that maybe were exposed to social media at such a young age. I literally remember, and this was the most unhinged thing ever. And I do actually think some of my biggest insecurities around social media as it relates to not our relationship now, but the early parts of our relationship do you remember when Snapchat used to show people's best friends?
I didn't have Snapchat.
Okay, well,
I'm just kidding. I had Snapchat.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about? That got people in a lot of trouble. It definitely got me in trouble once.
But
it definitely I knew I was not your number one girl based off of your Snapchat best friends.
Circa 2013, 2014, Snapchat was responsible for ending
relationships.
High school sweethearts were not safe.
No.
Because I would
Would you like to name names?
No. I could name names. There's names. I could name names of people. I'm sitting in any class, but this is before 10 a.m., which is that's the life of a kid, especially high school. Your day starts so early. But 10 a.m., getting a text yo, send me a couple snaps quick. I gotta.
Oh my God, you're right. I remember that
Please
too.
Send me snaps. I gotta clear my thing because
oh my God,
the people that are showing up are.
I would do that.
You would do what?
I would text Nina and be send me a couple snaps. I can't have this person showing up as my best friend.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was top 3.
But sometimes, in my defense, it would come out of not using Snapchat after a while. And then all of a sudden, someone would snap me, and just the way that algorithm was designed, it would then put them as their best friend.
Yes. No, it was definitely person to person. The issue is if you were a person that was in a relationship with somebody and your Snapchat was getting you in trouble or was getting you in trouble because you were using it too much and you knew that your partner was checking on it, maybe
It's like how people still get in trouble for
Don't do
Venmo,
it.
and Venmo is not even social media.
people get in trouble for Venmo.
Yeah.
Wait, am I in trouble?
No, you're not in trouble. No,
Oh.
we're not. We're fine. I meant like people
I mean, I
still.
just meant at some point in
Pe-
time, like
No, we never had issues with Venmo. We've been in situations.
you said you were at home last night and I see you Venmoing somebody for 2 a.m. pizza.
Right. I'm saying that's how a lot of people are like, oh, who are there's some people that chronically go on Venmo and like watch people's Venmo's transactions. And before it wasn't always private, or like it's very easy to not make a transaction private.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, well, no, I get how you could use it that way. I was more just thinking, yeah, if the people getting in trouble when they were getting in trouble, it really was a problem where it was like, I don't know how to navigate. I can't just disconnect from this. And unfortunately, it's funny to say, something like Snapchat was trying to hold you accountable and you were failing miserably.
I don't think it's just that. Well, okay, the feature, I think it was stupid. They took it away, obviously. But I think it's so interesting, especially talking about this, where I realize a lot of my earliest insecurities around relationships were because of social media. And I don't want to be like, I'm blaming it all on social media, but like, this is not, for example, these scenarios I'm about to lay out were not something that our parents had to go through. So one example, I remember when we first started dating, I like to post online. In case you guys didn't notice this, I like to share my life online. There are some things I don't share, believe it or not, but for the most part, I like to share my life online. And I was sharing that I met Tom and that I had a new boyfriend, like I so often did when I have a new boyfriend. And, tagging is a thing, right? So I'm newly back home, just came back from college, start tagging Tom. But when you click on Tom Pelini's page, Tom doesn't post on social media at all. Not just like me, like doesn't post at all. And all of his pictures are of him and his ex-girlfriend. And mind you, I'm aware of this person. Like, I'm still insecure a little bit because in my first experiences of posting boyfriends on social media, they pretty much always went back to their ex-girlfriend. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's always this chance, right? That he's going to, if the pictures are still on the grid, that they're going to go back to their ex-girlfriend. And so, but like at this point with Tom, it's different because we've been hanging out every day. It's this man is not hiding anything from me. There's this intuition that I feel like Tom is in this relationship with me and he's not going anywhere. But like, because of my insecurities and trauma, I don't trust my own intuition. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to take him to my secret track. It's like a track in the middle of nowhere in my town and it has a lot of meaning. That's not the point. Just for this story's purposes, it's called the secret track. So I'm like, let's go on a picnic. I'm going to take you to the secret track. And then I'm like,
It was not billed as a picnic.
Tom, we literally packed a bunch of food and a picnic blanket.
Did we?
And you just don't have the best memory sometimes about the early parts of our relationship.
There were snacks? I don't remember having snacks.
Tom, you made like a whole pasta salad. And we had a bunch of snacks.
Whatever.
And that whole like giant bag of Swedish fish that you got me that one time, because I still ate Swedish fish back then. I still love Swedish fish. I just don't eat them anymore.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyways, it was a picnic. Maybe I traumatized Tom. Maybe that's why he doesn't remember.
I remember like loosely that I remember the area. I remember the more or less the conversation. But I think I'm mixing it with a different time when we went there to actually run on the track.
Mm.
So like I think that one was worse because didn't feel like running.
Okay, can I finish my story?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But I'm just explaining. I do have the memory. I just didn't remember the picnic element of it.
Okay, so anyways, we sit down. I'm like, I need to talk to you about something. It's like, I like feel bad because I know this relationship was really special for you. But it's a little embarrassing because why are you laughing at me? Because every time you go to your page, it's a picture of another girl and I'm posting about you and it just looks like you don't care to be with me. And I'm not asking you to post me, but like I'm also not asking you to keep old posts and it was like now looking back, listen, I probably could give two shits if there was still pictures of his ex-girlfriend on his grid, but even saying it out loud makes me want to like because I just like I couldn't trust my own intuition and have that confidence about our relationship. And that's a thing for a lot of relationships. Like I've been in the other relationships where I've been with an Instagram influencer. So everything you posted online was strategic, malicious, manipulative, like all the things. So it's like I was coming from very like weird experiences of how social media, especially Instagram and the grid, was like a really big portion of how I either ended up hurt. Well, in the end, point blank, how I ended up hurt, but like, or of how like I was chosen, even maybe just like from an audience perspective, I was chosen for an audience and over an audience, or not chosen over an audience, whatever. And then you have you who does not care about social media. And I know this, but yet I couldn't move on from those past experiences, those past relationships. Do you want to go into your side of that story?
Well, yeah. I think I don't think we have a unique experience with that at all. I think a lot of people go through that. Like, hey, your ex is still on your like profile, whatever, or even just in general, like when you're first getting to know somebody and you're like researching them, like if you're on a dating app and their profile, you're like swiping on their profile and they match with you and you try and check them out and you're like, a lot of other dudes on here.
Well, it's sad because I was going
like
through
that.
the old like photo albums the other day, right in my family's house, and it's like back then, that's what they're still memories. Like even if they were exes, like maybe you would throw the pictures away, but like I learned of a lot of weird family dynamics of my family's friends of like who used to date who later on in life because of I'd look at a picture and be like, why is he with her or whatever. And it was like, I don't know. In some ways, these are still cherished memories. Maybe not if they were assholes, but sorry, go on. I completely interrupted you.
It's fine. I was just thinking more the idea that there's a lot of times where your first thought, the inclination that you have when you see somebody else who has posted other people from their past and it's still on their public profile, you just think like, oh, is that meaningful? Is it meaningful? How meaningful is it? You know, you can't help but have those thoughts.
But of course, and we've had this before. Of course, it's meaningful. It's supposed to be meaningful. You didn't meet them yet. You're the person that you're with now. Like it has to be meaningful.
Or it's not meaningful.
Or it's not meaningful.
My point is saying your projection onto somebody else's profile of what they have on it is sort of that's not the main issue. It could very well be a problem if a guy has his ex-girlfriend all over his profile still, and you're like trying to talk to him, and you're like, or if he brings her up, like it's clear to see when somebody is like not over an ex. That's one of the telltale signs. Are they still on their profile? You know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I guess
it's not that there's no meaning in the fact that somebody still has pictures of a previous relationship up on their profile. It's more so, how meaningful is social media to them? How meaningful is their like interaction with social media to their life personally? That's more of the factor that you need to be concerned with when you're thinking about, potentially dating somebody, or when you're getting to know somebody and wondering how much you should be trusting them.
I think that's a good point.
So,
Like, because obviously everyone has a different relationship with these platforms. Like, if, God forbid, if someone was ever going on a date with me and for some reason we were not together, like, they would have to learn that social media is an important part of my life. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
yes. And that's where I would say there's different, I think this is the very nuanced conversation about these things is, it really is, there's not if they have pictures of their ex on their Instagram, stay away. Or if they have a completely clean Instagram, there's nothing on it. Like, is that weird? Like, is it weird that they never post anything? You can have a million thoughts about that. And I think there's an example of it going right and it going wrong for each one. And it's not necessarily a rule of thumb for any of them, whether or not you need to, stay away or pursue it, further. In our instance, it's not that I don't care about social media at all. I enjoy interacting with social media. I like to see things. I think it's fun and useful at times. I'm just not like a vanity person where I need to be like posting myself and I need attention. Like,
Are you saying I need attention?
Likes and engagement? No. I mean, yes, you do, but that's not the point. The point I'm making is, like, for me, my presence and profile on social media wasn't something that I curated to like really hold meaning for me. So those pictures that were up on there,
So our pictures don't mean anything?
those pictures that were up on there, I'm just gonna ignore that. The pictures that were up on there at that point in time that you're talking about were like, hey, I don't really appreciate seeing this. For me, and this is something I had explained to you at the time, was I'm not keeping these here as like a memory of anything. It's more, I don't care enough to delete them because they don't necessarily hold that much meaning to me. And
Yeah,
that
but
is,
like, I feel like that's not true,
Well,
because you can't say that part of your life wasn't important.
Let me finish explain. The meaningfulness in these photos, I hold somewhere as a part of me. Like, the memories that I have, or whatever the things that the pictures represent, those are things that I have a different relationship with. I had a different relationship with then than I did when I posted them, than when the pictures were taken and deciding to post them. That's not really the point. Also, there's like the social pressure of like posting for people's birthdays and doing other things, like why things are on your feed anyway.
Right.
So that's its whole own thing. What I'm saying is, me deleting them was more an act of acknowledging, that they had more meaning than I felt that they did. So in my own mind, I was like, I don't need to delete them because they're whatever. They're there. Eventually they will be replaced by other things. Or in any sense, I probably just thought maybe I'll just delete my Instagram at some point. It wasn't that deep, is basically what I'm trying to say. I didn't look at them. I didn't go look through my own Instagram profile. I didn't have a lot of followers. I wasn't looking for people to be like, I wasn't trying to gain a following and have people come look at my profile. So in our instance, and I explained this to you at the time and now again right now, the meaningfulness wasn't like, oh, I want them to be there as a reminder for me, or because I want them to still think that I'm potentially interested, or that I don't want to do it because I don't want to hurt their, some sort of projection onto that person away from myself. That wasn't the case. And from your point of view, and I can understand just as much saying like, hey, I just don't want to see this, especially because I do care about this stuff. It is more meaningful to me. And I actually have skin in the game in terms of, presenting myself and fostering a presence and building a community on the internet. So, long story short, you gave me all of that, and all I actually said was, "Okay, I'll delete them."
Yeah, it was very
And
anticlimactic.
I deleted
Actually,
them, and then that was the end
he
of it.
literally did it like right there and then.
You just never asked.
And then
me to
I was
do it.
actually really sad about it. I was like, wait, I feel really bad because like,
Yeah, then you were like, "OMG, like, am I just like am I manipulating you to like forget about your past?"
well, part of that response was because of some of the trauma that I went through with an ex of like, it was like an ultimatum. It's like you either delete that picture or we're not together situation. Or I posted a picture of I have a vivid memory of getting in a this is actually really fucked up. I didn't like PDA actually for the longest time. I mean, unless I was like super drunk and being stupid in college, like, you know, like if it was anything real, I didn't like PDA. A real relation, like feelings or whatever. And I remember being in a basement party and this guy, we're in a relationship for better use of terminology, but he like got mad because I wouldn't like kiss him at the party. I don't know if it was like, I forget what it was. I was just like, please, like, I just like don't want a kiss. And he literally said, "Fuck you," and left the party. And it turned into a fight, obviously, because I was like, you're not going to force me to kiss you when I don't want to kiss you at a party. And turned into this whole fight. And somehow I ended up being the one to apologize. And that same night, we had taken a nice picture together. But the next day, I wake up and a picture of us together is posted on the internet on the private account, because the public account was, you know, the one with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers. But, and I was like so confused because we just had a huge fight. And this is before the cycle of fighting had really started. Let's put it that way. And I was like, whatever. And then I remember from that point on, because I was like very adamant because of experiences even before that person, not to be posting guys I was seeing on my Instagram grid. I wasn't going to do it again. It hurt me once before. I wasn't going to do it again. And because of that, I do remember how that was probably the start of how not just my relationship to social media in relationships began, and how outward facing that started to be on the internet. But also with social media, digital marketing in general, because of their profession. And I do wonder sometimes if it wasn't for that instance of then feeling pressure to always put my relationship out online and make it like pretty and perfect online, because in a lot of ways I was really good at that. I'm a really good marketer. And if I would even show you, for example, if we would have ever had that conversation like at the secret track, because and this is part of the reason that I wanted to even start doing these like podcast talks, because was like, it was sad to see, and it still irks me, that some of my best engagement is when it's pictures of us. And I think that's just because the internet likes tall, athletic looking white men. But I like you too. But it was like, I think I also wanted to be more candid of like, our relationship isn't perfect all the time. And I don't know, it's a weird place to be in, because I'm not like a celebrity. I'm not even an influencer, but I do put myself out there. I always kind of have. and how much that has led to insecurities, but it's also led to, I don't know, like one of my favorite things that we do is this. Like I feel like we connect during these conversations a lot. But I don't know how I would have gotten here in this chair talking to you like this if it wasn't for these wild experiences. Like I used to compare, like I don't know many other, like there are so many girls that go on ex-girlfriends' profiles or like see the partner that they're with and like, oh my God, I look like her. Like I have so many memories of that shit. And I'm sure guys do too. I have no idea.
Oh, you don't want to know.
What?
You don't want to know what guys do.
Yes, I do. That's why we're having the podcast, Tom.
Guys like join the NSA. Or befriend other people who work in like surveillance and security to try.
Okay,
to,
hold on. That's very alarming. Are you serious? Are you joking?
Moderately hyperbolic, but I also
okay. Well, now we have a problem because that is just stalking and
no. It's not. They don't necessarily care to like find out like where they live or like stuff like that. It's more like they need to know exactly who people were from their past because that decides whether or not they want to pursue them.
You're telling me men are trying to control things. What a very insightful thing to learn today.
They care just as much, if not more, about being like stalking an ex, internet stalking an ex to find out, whether or not they want to pursue somebody. That's all.
Well, that's just alarming. Everyone needs to calm the F down.
That's fine. I don't do that.
Well, Tom, it helps that we knew each other from high school.
Yes. Then the question you were trying to pose was,
I don't know. I can't actually imagine how I would be if I was out here single in the wild right now.
That's fine. You'd be fine.
Thanks, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't have you.
I meant like you're.
I was trying to be cute.
I know. No, I think in my saying you'd be fine is you wouldn't be one of the people that we're talking about being extremely problematic anymore. You have evolved past that is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so what do you think is the best way after everything that we just talked about? I don't think I've ever asked you, like, why. I feel like you kind of explained it here, but like not really. Like, why don't you post pictures?
I just don't think about it.
It's really that simple?
I guess for me, I have the relationship with social media where I'm so used to seeing curated things. Like I feel like I'm not a part of the in-group of people who has the ability to like edit and do stuff and like make it look a certain way and then think about like do I want to write a funny caption or something like that? Like that's a lot of mental energy for me. And I feel like and this is because I don't engage with it that much. Obviously, I know how much effort you and time you put in, but you have like people that help you do it. You've been doing it for so long, and it's not just fun for you. It's not just your social media. It's like a part of your business. So why you have to take the time and energy that you do to do it? For me, it's like, yeah, I don't have time. Like it's a waste of my time to do that. Like that's just how I think about it. Like I would be better served as not necessarily consuming all of it, but I'm better served as just my limited interactions with it are fine. If I am presented with something that's postable, then I can post it, but it's just not something that I'm actively thinking about. Like, oh, let me take a picture of this because I want to post it, or like, oh, let me whatever. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm saying there's something wrong with me, but maybe I'm
not saying there's anything.
I could be more unique in that. I just don't, because I do enjoy, like, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I don't care about going on the internet. I don't care about watching little stupid videos or like seeing who's doing what. Because I do go on the internet and social media and I look at stuff, but I just don't have the same level of desire in terms of wanting to, I don't know, you could say my woke brain is like, I don't need to see me on the internet.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up there.
I don't need to see more of me on the internet. I'm good.
I mean, everyone was rooting for your brief TikTok career. Tom lost a bet. Not a bet. He lost fantasy football. And he had to create... Oh my God, what's his name? I'm completely blanking.
Jared McCain.
He had to recreate Jared McCain TikTok videos. And the videos were so cute of you dancing on TikTok. I was a fan of them. I think you should start them again. But see,
Yeah.
this is where social media is impacting our relationship because I'm telling you something that you don't want to do.
It's not that. So the fun.
What
like,
a phenomenon.
The fun that I had doing that was in like making it and then seeing it. I didn't necessarily care about after I posted it.
No, I know, but you genuinely, I saw you making them. We had to make them together. Like you were having fun with it. And I think that was the coolest part was because afterwards I would be the one being like, wow, like you didn't, like you got a lot of views for not having any followers whatsoever. And you'd be like, yeah, whatever. And like, it would be like me that like the only analytical side of my brain working. And then,
We need to.
but like,
Hit the
I
gas.
also liked how, I don't know. Well, when you're dancing, like whether we're at a wedding party, whatever, like you are a very carefree version of yourself. So it was cool to see that captured on those stupid TikTok videos. So
Sure.
This is my official petition to have your TikTok rebooted. So
That's
everybody
fine.
else, check it out.
The real question would be, or that we should leave with, would be when we had our little meeting at the secret track, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll just go delete it." If I said, "I'm not deleting my photos, get over it,"
You didn't say that. I don't get it.
would we be here if I said that?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, I definitely would have thought that you were then still in love with your ex-girlfriend because back then I was not, and actually not, it's not actually confident enough in you and us. It was trusting my own instinct.
Mhm.
Like I did not trust myself back then the way that I do now. Like if let's say we went to the secret track now and I was like, hey, it's been 7 years. Do you think you maybe want to delete the photos of your ex-girlfriend? That wouldn't even be a conversation because I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But we've gotten to that place after 7 years. There's plenty of people that never get to that place.
Mhm.
Like they do not want their partner having pictures of their ex, even on their phone, let alone like on public social media,
Yes.
which I don't agree with.
So the reason I was asking that question specifically was because I knew you would be like, well, we're here now. I don't care.
So you're tricking me?
No, my whole point to wrap everything up was to say, if you have a problem with a partner that's on social media or in that capacity, the real issue that you have is your relationship with social media.
Mm.
And you need to recognize it. And then that's a conversation you need to have with them. And it's also something you need to work through and understand everybody has a different relationship with social media.
Mm-hmm.
If I care too much about it or if they care too much about it, that's a problem. And it might not necessarily mean that you don't care about each other or you can't care about each other, but it means that there's a blockade. And one of the blockades is your relationship with the presence that you have on social media and how you interact with other people. So
Yeah.
that's all.
And I think you've always done a good job of like recognizing where I'm coming from, that like even if you didn't quite agree with it, you knew it wasn't in your control to like speed that healing process for me up. Like, and I think again, so it helped it. And our relationship is not something that is like we say this all the time, is not a blueprint because it helped. You followed me since I was a kid. You watched me on social media go through that up and down with my relationships being very central online. Like, I mean, if you read my stupid ass poems back in the day, you knew what I was going through. And so you had like that inside scoop, if you will, because like any new person that I went on dates with before you had no idea. So they weren't going to be empathetic or understanding. Like to them, it probably was just like, I mean, it wasn't anything other than like, this girl's not it. But like, if you're trying to make that next step with someone, having those details and understanding is important, because unfortunately or fortunately, social media is not going anywhere. It's only getting more chaotic. And it's a part of our lives. Except fantasy football, I could do without.
It's not social media.
To me, it is. All right, that's all.
It's objectively not social media, but okay.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about fantasy football and the impacts of that on relationships at the next episode.
Yeah, we'll have a fight about it.
Okay, sparkle on, everybody.
Sparkle on.